Hello and welcome back into another episode of Tavern Takes. As promised, this is the first day of the NCAA tournament, and We're going live a little earlier than I expected to. Well, not than I expected to, but I think then the group expected to. Most of us are working tomorrow, so we didn't necessarily want to stay up till 1 in the morning to do this. Um, I have Josh with me, and it'll be me and Josh alone. We're going to recap the early afternoon games, or, well, morning/afternoon games, and kind of talk about what's going on right now. And we will recap the rest tomorrow. We will also be live for the Marquette game tomorrow, as we're going to put Sawyer in the torture chamber as Wisconsin got the win today. So if you've listened to previous podcasts, Sawyer needs to win tomorrow to avoid paying $50 between me and Josh. Welcome in, Josh. What do you think so far?
Welcome. Nothing too crazy that nothing too crazy happened. I think the teams that should have won. Maybe outside of McNeese, but McNeese was a popular 12 pick that people were picking. So, but nothing really too shocking. Like I said, I think the teams that should have won did win. So, and
no, I completely.
So far,
oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, and so far the teams that should be winning right now, maybe Arkansas, Kansas being the closest in terms of that. But
8 points right now. I'm looking at it right now. I can't exactly see the Drake, Missouri score right now.
24-18.
Oh, wow, Drake. Yeah, Drake up 6 early. That's not exactly a shock either, though. But
it's also the first half.
We'll start with Wisconsin, as we are Wisconsin fans. We have as I call them, the core four on this podcast right now. And the core four is me, you, Sawyer, and Will. And one of those members of the core four spent the better part of the last 4 days since this bracket came out talking about Monty Williams. This clown had Montana to the Sweet 16 in his bracket. Now, I can appreciate the trolling, but at some point, kid's going to have to realize he's little brother. And to his credit, he did tell us we could come on tonight and dunk on him, because he literally spent, like I said, the last 4 days completely trolling us. I saw a lot of positives from that game. Getting Big Steve going is a big deal.
Blackwell played really well, too.
But the thing I've noticed about this team is when Big Steve is playing well, this team can reach another level. When he can get buckets in the paint, it's a big deal because it opens up our three-point shooters, and we have plenty of them. But I was very impressed by Big Steve today. Carter Gilmore also had a very good game.
He played like a dog.
Standards. He did.
He was a guy like in the trenches, basically.
I thought Nolan Winter had a piss-poor game today, to be honest with you. It was a not great Nolan Winter performance. So if we're going to get that, it was really nice to see Gilly step up. He played very well. And Montana got it to within 4 early in the second half, and from that point on, it was all Wisconsin. Wisconsin just had too much in the paint. They had no answer. Like we talked about in the group chat, they don't start anyone over 6'8", 6'9", something like that. And they credit to Greg Gard for coming up with a great game plan. I know it's a 14 seed, but we see 15 seeds, 14 seeds, 13 seeds pick off teams all the time. And credit to Guard for coming up with the right game plan. Wasn't the greatest Tanjay effort, but did what he needed to do, didn't force the issue. They really locked in on him. And if teams are going to lock in on Tanji, then Blackwell, Crowell, Gilmore, Klesmit, Winter, the supporting cast has got to step up.
McGee off the bench.
McGee off the bench. Yep.
And shout out Xavier Amos too.
Xavier Amos, yeah.
13 minutes and 11 points. I mean, like he did his part for his little 11-minute stretch that he had. It was 13-minute stretch. Sorry.
Either way, you could argue Xavier Amos should have got more minutes in that game. That is the exact reason they got him in the portal, and the exact reason I hope he does not go portaling again is we talked about this on the phone a little earlier today. I think Amos is the guy that next year can give you 20 on any given night. He's an athletic freak. He just doesn't quite play within himself yet, but I think another year, he gives me a lot of Max Klesmit vibes. Max's first year was a little underwhelming.
Yep.
Max, and then he kind of grew into it, and I really think Xavier Amos could be. I don't know that he's a first team All Big Ten player next year, but I could see him making honorable mention. Like, I think he's that good. I think he's got that much talent. I hope he stays, I guess is what I'm getting at.
The only thing that I do think, just speaking of Klesmit moving forward, here's where he was probably the only disappointing one. I mean, I know they got into foul trouble early, but 23 minutes, no points, no stats really at all, besides 2 boards, 4 assists, but he had 4 fouls, and I believe he had like 3 at the half. So avoid the foul trouble and maybe put one in the hoop.
I get that, but if you watch too, his defensive assignment for most of the game was Money Williams, and Money Williams had a terrible game, and that's the thing. Like, I know he didn't score, and I know he only had 4 assists and 2 rebounds, like you said. But if he's going to shut down their best player, which he essentially did today, you live with that because we got enough offense from other guys that.
Yeah, I mean, supporting cat, we have four guys in double digits or 5 guys in double digits. So,
exactly. And if Klesmit's going to go, what did he shoot? Was he 0 for what? I watched that whole game. I don't remember him taking a lot of shots. I feel like he was maybe like 0 for 3.
Yeah, you hit it right on the head. Yeah.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. Like, if he's 0 for... Yeah, I was going to say, if he's 0 for 7 or something, then we got a problem. But he let the other guys handle offense, and he was a dog on defense all day. And, we're going to need more from him against BYU. Before we get into BYU and move on here, I want to low-key touch on something, and I don't know how much you know about this. Owen Freeman was Iowa's best player, and there are credible sources that say he's on his way to Madison. Owen Freeman averaged 18 a game for Iowa this year. He would be a very good Stephen Crowell replacement, arguably an upgrade. If they bring him in, it's a very big deal. If they retain Blackwell, Winter, and bring in Freeman, Wisconsin's in a very good position next year. Now, we'll see what happens. He does have the do not contact tag on, which means he pretty much knows where he's going already.
Yeah.
So the fact that he hasn't announced that yet gives me optimism that it is Wisconsin, because he more than likely wouldn't announce it while we're in the middle of a tournament run. So I think the portal just officially opened today. So, or is opening soon. You get so lost with college football portals and college basketball portal these days. It's very hard to keep track. But we'll move on from that, unless you got any comments.
I was just going to say, not to mention, I probably won't pay attention to it until the tournament's over.
Yeah.
Anyway, so.
Yeah. We'll move into let's touch on Wisconsin's second round matchup real quick. It's going to be BYU. BYU handled VCU. I know it only showed, I think, a 9-point game at the end, but BYU was in control. Don't know how much you watched. I watched basically that whole game. And where VCU got absolutely murdered was they don't start anyone over 6'8". And BYU absolutely murdered them on the glass. And going into today, I feared BYU quite a bit. And after watching them today, I actually like Wisconsin's chances a lot more. They're not going to murder us on the glass. Like they were getting like 3 chances every other possession. Like VCU just could not rebound. Now that doesn't mean I don't think BYU can beat us. 100%, I think they can beat us.
Their offense.
But so is ours. And
so is ours.
Our offense didn't exactly shoot the lights out today, which means one of those games is coming. So I'm strangely optimistic about that BYU game. Way more optimistic than I was 2 days ago.
Yeah, we didn't have, even going back to just today, like you said, we didn't really shoot the lights out. We were shot 55% from the field and only 30 from 3. Not a great showing from 3 again, but that's all right. We did everything we needed to do to work today, and one by 19, dude. Like it's it's a tournament, and we're a 3 seed, and it's like people want however many point win, a 19-point win when we didn't have one of our maybe a C+ game from 3 and still won by 19. Tanjay had 15, and I bet you 8 of that was from the line. Like Tanjay didn't even really have that good of a game, and that's the thing that people need to realize about this Wisconsin team is we don't rely on Tanjay. Like, yeah, does he take us to another level? 100%. Like Tanjay scoring 30 in a game means we can beat a team like Duke or give Duke hell. Yeah,
but going up against BYU, like if Tanjay's got 15 again and we got 4 in double figures, I don't sweat it.
Odds are we're gonna win. Yeah, yep.
I don't sweat that. Like we have so many shooters. We got 9 guys that could get hot from 3 on any given night. It's true. Between McGee, even Carter Gilmore can get hot from 3. So
also, and I just want to throw this out there too. Good teams win, great teams cover. We did cover that spread today too.
So. Yeah, that was a talk in our chat because I decided to spray the board today. And I started 0 for 3. And I would like to point out that I lost that Wisconsin game. I needed 1 more basket for the over to cover in that game with like a minute 20 left. And it was just an awful display of basketball from the bench for the last minute 20 from both teams.
that was bad.
So that was a tough non-cover. The over-under, I believe, was 152.5. And they had 151. And it's like, what do you guys? Our bench threw the ball away on like 3 possessions in a row, and they were taking ridiculous threes on the other end. So
but then
it's what
so
it
did their
is.
bench too. Their bench was ass.
Well,
too.
that's what I meant. On the other end, they were taking ridiculous
Yeah.
threes.
It was
So
rough.
it's I believe I'm 3-5. I picked every game today so far. I believe I'm 3-5 going into this late window, which isn't great.
I'll fire
No,
tomorrow the results too.
Oh, I'm doing every single game tomorrow as well. Like I don't care. Like, I'm just here to throw them out. Let's move on to the first game of the day in Creighton and Louisville, and that was quite a shocker. It's not a shocker that Creighton got hot as much as I don't know. Like I want to say the ACC's ass. I don't know. It's tough. Chucky did. Shut up, Chucky. Man did all he could.
Yeah. Personally, I thought you would have saw a better showing from Louisville, being a mere hour and a half away from 2 hours away from the
hour 10.
Hour 10. I would have thought essentially getting a home game that they would have played, but the start of the game was fun. It was back and forth. It was lead change after lead change for the first 8 minutes or so, and then Creighton just took it and ran. And so, I mean, whatever. The better team won. Creighton was clearly hands down the better team.
They were. It annoys me because Sawyer's bracket is completely all Big East, and it's whatever. The ACC is garbage, as we'll get to later with another ACC team. I believe there's 2 ACC teams left, and it's North Carolina and Duke. And North Carolina's in because they won the first 4 game, which I had.
I know this is a hot take, but this might be hot. But is Duke in trouble if the ACC is this bad?
No.
I mean, I'm not saying that
they're just so talented, dude.
They're so good.
They're just so freaking talented. Like
it just seems the ACC was very overrated.
The ACC, I wouldn't say overrated. No one thought it was good, but it's worse than we thought it was, I guess is what you're saying. Yeah. And I agree. Duke hasn't had much competition all year. Are they in trouble in the first 2 rounds?
No.
Absolutely not. Caleb Love might give them some problems if he can go off, if Arizona manages to get there. But
even though
again,
pods we took Akron.
Yeah, I mean, Duke's got Malawach, Cooper Flagg. They got Con Knipple, shout out Wisconsin. Tyrese Proctor. Yeah, there's just Mason Gillis off the bench. Like they just got guys, man, and
one seed's got to fall. One seed's got to fall.
Yeah, and I'm not saying they can't, but
we'll get to something when we get there. But
I don't think Duke's in trouble. I guess if that's what you're at. I don't think anything that's happened today has made me think any less of Duke. I guess. Like I still think Duke is a wagon. We move on to let's talk High Point Purdue because I don't know how many of us ended up taking High Point. I got the bracket pulled up here.
I know I did.
You did. Will did not. I did not.
Did Sawyer?
Kurt did not. And Sawyer did. So if we're not including Whiskey, my wife, and my child, which, by the way, quick shout out. I guess my wife did this thing where she put treats in either hand and let my basically like you did with your dog.
Yeah. And I will say, talking about these late submissions of brackets, I was following between myself, Abby, and Whiskey, and my dog has the better bracket right now. So that's tough.
Well, that's March for you, man. Like
that's March.
You got people that'll pick by color that will end up with, the better bracket. So High Point Purdue, like I said, I listened to the Field of 68, which is a really good podcast to listen to with John Thanta, Rob Dosser. They got a bunch of previous coaches and players. Listen to them. They got really good insight, really good recap stuff. Also, the Ion College Basketball Podcast and the Mark Titus Show from Barstool. Mark Titus, former Ohio State basketball player, when Greg Oden and Mike Conley were there, he was part of those teams. But either way, I guess what I'm getting at, all those shows, High Point's going to give Purdue all these problems. And it's not that they didn't give them a problem, but Braden Smith does what Braden Smith does. And he just controlled that game. He's the best point guard in the country.
Yeah.
Sawyer will tell you it's Cam Jones. It's not. It's Braden Smith. He's such a good passer. He has such a good feel for the game. He's under control. He picks his spots so well. He just and Purdue just showed their class today. And as a Big Ten fan, I appreciate that. But I was thoroughly impressed with Purdue today. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, a lot of people had High Point. A lot of people had High Point, and Purdue just did what they do. And they covered.
I think High Point covered, didn't they?
No, because that's the bet I lost. They were 7.5.
Oh, I thought they were further. Never mind.
Nope. High Point did not cover. That was one of my early L's. But no, again, good showing by a mid-major. They kept it competitive.
Yeah,
kept it within striking distance, but proud of Purdue.
In the majority, for High Point's sake, they just went up against a Power 5 conference, and they kept it pretty much within 10 almost the whole game.
And they don't want to hear that because they were picked to win and they thought they should have won. But, like you said.
What are you going to do?
Yeah. Purdue is just better.
Yeah.
We move on to Houston, SIU, Edwardsville.
This one I don't think we really need to talk about a whole lot. Houston's just really...
No, I'm actually not going to talk about the game itself other than I put this in our group chat. This podcast has been saying Houston is going to demolish any one seed with defense. And Houston could have scored 0 points in the second half and won.
Still won by double digits.
Yeah. So that's all I'm going to say about that. Shout out us. Houston leans on people. So good defensively.
Between them and Tennessee, it's just defensive master classes.
Alabama State, Auburn. The only thing I get to say about this game is I was in school as I'm an electrical apprentice, and I have school every other Thursday. And I look at my phone before we go down to do a lab, and it's 32-31 with like 59 seconds left. By the time we get in the lab, it's 41-31. So Auburn scored like 9 points in a span of like 40 seconds. Don't know how they did it, but
yeah, I will
credit
say
where credit's due.
I didn't watch this game really. I turned it on. I ended up kind of working from home here, in the late afternoon. But I turned it on, and I saw the same score, and I'm like, oh, wait a minute. Like, let me pay attention to this. And, yeah, it was just nonstop, like, 3, 3, 3. Oh, shit.
Before you could –
there goes
before you could actually pay attention, it was already over.
Yeah.
I will say shout out Alabama State for covering the 31.5. I started 0-3. They were one of the 3 wins that brought me back. Along with this next game, and this is, I guess, the shocker of the day, if you will. Man, Clemson just extended their coach for 5 years because they were afraid he was going to leave. And then they just they made a really good push in the second half. But McNeese just 31-13 at half. You can't score 13 points in a half and win an NCAA tournament game.
No.
It's embarrassing. Like, that is very embarrassing showing from Clemson.
McNeese it was more embarrassing for Clemson. I would say it was more a bad Clemson loss than a good McNeese win because Clemson just looked god-awful.
At one point, I saw they were shooting 20% from the field. Like, you're never going to win.
But, hey, shout out McNeese. They controlled that entire game. Even with Clemson playing bad and kind of making a run at the end to get it much closer than what it actually looks like.
Yep.
Shout out McNeese, man. I think that was one of the
manager.
That's that manager. I'm not going to call this too much of a shocker though, because I do think that a lot of people are riding high on McNeese.
Well, that's why I put it in quotes.
Yeah.
That's why I said the shocker.
Yeah. But yeah, shout out equipment manager. As soon as he went viral, McNeese is on the map.
We already kind of touched on VCU, BYU. Not really much anything else to say about that game. We got this was a shocker in the aspect of how bad it was. Gonzaga just beat the ever-living piss out of Georgia. I don't know what the final was. I think it was like a 20.
I got it right here. 89-68.
Yeah.
Not good.
I picked Georgia to cover. I didn't think they'd win, but it was 27-3 to start that game. Like the SEC's in some trouble right now. Like, I guess not trouble. What did Tennessee? Did that Tennessee game go final?
Yeah, 77-62.
God damn it! They didn't cover, so I'm now 3-6.
Yeah, they did not cover. They look good though. I will say.
Yeah, they were. Yeah, it's Tennessee.
Chaz Lanier is a stud.
He is, and I'm stealing this from Mark Titus, but he is what we call 85% of Dalton Connect.
Yeah.
Now, whether that's good enough for a Final Four or whatever, who knows? I got Tennessee winning it. I mean,
I got Tennessee in the Final Four.
I am not going to lie to you. Tennessee's your second team, and they're slowly becoming my second team in basketball.
I think
they're Wisconsin. I think they're old Wisconsin on steroids. They're Bo Ryan on steroids is what they are.
That's what I've always said. Their game reflects Wisconsin so much. Slow the pace down. play defense, play hard-nosed defense. And just because I've kind of followed him for a couple of years now, but Zakai Ziegler might be one of the best like glue guys in college basketball. He's just a glue guy. Like he's such a good like supporting piece to whomever is the star on that team. In Chaz Lanier, for example.
I completely agree. Like Ziegler, you could tell during the SEC tournament after they beat Auburn, they interviewed Ziegler and Rick Barnes, and you can just tell Rick Barnes appreciates him so much. He's a Tennessee guy through and through. That is really the last game we have to talk about that is finished, but I thought you and I could stay live for the end of the Kansas-Arkansas game that is under the under 4 timeout, unless you would like to get out of here.
No, I'm good with that.
Kansas has retaken the lead. It is 67-64 at the under 4.
Yep. See that.
Meanwhile, Drake is up 30-23. We could talk a little more. We kind of just touched Tennessee. I do give a little credit to Wofford for keeping that game closer than I thought it would be. I thought that was kind of one of the easiest picks of the day.
They definitely kept it closer than I thought. I thought Tennessee would cover easily. But, yeah, I mean, shout out Wofford. Tennessee controlled the entirety of the game. Don't get me wrong. But
yep,
I think it could have easily been a blowout, but Wofford hung in there.
I think it was kind of a lot like the Wisconsin-Montana game. It was like closer kind of than the final score, really.
Yeah. I mean, Chaz Lanier was really the only one that actually did something kind of worth a damn on offense, but
in other news, go ahead.
I was going to say, I think Zakai Ziegler was their only other double point scorer in that game.
In other news, Yale and Texas A&M is at the 8:47 mark, and that is an 8-point game with A&M in the lead. I have Yale covering 7.5, so I'm 6-point game now. I am vastly interested to try and break even. How did the rest of the picks go today, by the way, while we're here? I'm looking. B. Kurt's got Yale. He's got Drake. He's got Michigan, and he had BYU. Yeah, B. Kurt's looking pretty freaking good to go 5-0 right now.
Yeah, he is.
He had Creighton +2.5. He had BYU -2.5, which are both winners. Like I said, Yale's now down 6. They were 7.5. And he's got Drake +6.5, and Drake is currently up 5 on Missouri. Make it. No, that guy missed his dunk. So
while we kind of wait here, how do you feel about your bracket so far?
I got to relook at it, to be honest with you. I get my picks I gave you today in my bracket messed up. So I have Louisville. I have Yale in this bracket.
I have Yale as well.
I have Mizzou, which isn't good either. I have Kansas, which I'm feeling pretty good about right now.
Yeah, Arkansas not scoring in the last 5 minutes isn't panning very well.
I had VCU, so that's a loss. I had Wisconsin. I had Houston and Gonzaga, so that's a positive. I had Clemson. It's not good, obviously, but I had Purdue.
Uh-oh.
And I had Tennessee. So I'm not in terrible shape right now. I haven't lost anybody that I have going far at this point. So
Uh-oh. Who's dead?
that KJ Adams. That's
It
not
is.
good if it is.
Got
Yikes.
up very slowly.
He's getting help to the sideline right now.
Yep.
Well, that's not good for my Kansas beating St. John's pick, but let's get past this one first, and then I'll worry about that. How's your bracket doing? How you doing?
Well, I had Louisville. That obviously did not pan out well. I had VCU, Georgia, and High Point. All those were losers. Wisconsin, Houston, and McNeese, and Tennessee are my other wins right now. So basically 4-4.
And there is Arkansas with a breakaway layup. 1 point game with 2:56 left. Missouri having 25 points in the second half is absolutely wild.
Yeah, I thought they were. Dude, throughout the season, man, I thought they were so skilled. Like, to be losing to Drake, I'm saying, it's not a great look.
No, them losing to Drake isn't exactly, like, weird. It's the fact that they have 25 points with 16 minutes left in the second half.
Arkansas gonna.
And Yale's got the ball down 6.
Oh.
And they missed. You know what? I kind of changed my mind here. Let's wrap this up.
Yeah, that's all good.
Let's wrap it up. We kind of talked about everything we have to talk about. We will recap the end of these games on tomorrow night's recap podcast. Now, mind you, we are going live tomorrow on Facebook and YouTube. We're going to put Sawyer in the torture chamber. Not only is his happiness with Marquette winning on the line, there's also a bet going on between me, Josh, and Sawyer that whoever goes further in the tournament between Marquette and Wisconsin gets $25. So if Marquette loses tomorrow, Sawyer owes us each $25. Side note, I made
Sawyer's walking into some treacherous waters too, with everybody else being a Wisconsin fan, basically.
Well, sounds like Will's coming tomorrow, so he might have some backup.
So he'll have some.
Also,
support.
I will say this: bear with us tomorrow. The start of our podcast might be a little janky. We got some things that we're gonna kind of figure out tomorrow, but sounds like all of us. Yes, I did purchase a webcam, which will hopefully give a better angle to all of us tomorrow and pick up more sound and clip-on mics, but we can only use one clip-on mic per stream, per laptop. So we'll have to see how we decide to do all this tomorrow. We got some figuring out to do when I get up to Fond du Lac tomorrow. But either way, we'll be live for the Marquette game, and then we will go not live for probably another 2.5 hours, and then we will record our recap, and that will be available to you guys very late Friday night, early Saturday morning. And then sounds like we will have a decent contingent of Badger fans at our buddy Jake's house to go live for the Wisconsin BYU game on Saturday. And then, of course, we will record a recap on Saturday night and a recap on Sunday, probably before the games are all over, but we'll see kind of how that all plays out. But we got a bare minimum 2.
Call it a poor man's Barstool gambling cave. That's what we're doing.
That's pretty much what it is. We got We got 2 live shows coming to you guys in the next 48 hours. So if we can get the views we did last time, that would be great. Y'all like and subscribe. Go to our Twitter or X, as it is known now, and click on the link tree and give us a follow, subscribe, and
Share
rate
the
us.
shit out of our post.
Yeah, share everything and rate us. Rate us would be helpful if you're going to give us 5 stars. If you're not going to give us 5 stars, don't rate us, because then it's going to hurt us. But
you don't give us 5 stars, I don't like you anymore.
Yeah, pretty much. Shout out Josh for coming on tonight, so I didn't have to go solo. And we will see you with some new guests this weekend in a mere 24 hours. Take it easy, y'all. Oh, wait. Josh, where can they find you?
At Robo39. This is March, baby.
All right, take it easy, everybody.